Okay, so for the second part, this is the second tutorial in the class on web services. Previously, we learned how to use a web service. This time, we're going to learn how to create one on our own. I'm going to be using NetBeans to show how to create a web service. And of course, there are many web services. The list I went through previously came from webservice.x.com. They have many web services available. I am sure you can also create such a website. All you have to do is have the appropriate language, and whatever language you have, depending on the overlaying protocols. For example, if it's SOAP 1.1, it would say that if information is sent to me in a specific format, and this is just using normal HTTP, saying if information is sent, you respond in a certain way. And if it's SOAP 1.2, if information is sent, that's the format. There's also for get and post. And of course, as we said previously, country, let's go with Togo this time. The web service is simply a way to have a description of the methods that a URL receives, the types of parameters, and then what it will respond with. So, for example, if we click, let's see what this web service will respond with. You have saying Togo has Atakpame, Togo has Mango, Togo has Nyantugo, and so on, right? Togo Sakode, Togo, okay, Togo Lome, that's the capital. Alright, so this is what this web service does. Now, let's see about creating one of our own. And as I said, we'll be using NetBeans. Now, if you go online to download NetBeans, I would encourage you to get the one that has web enabled. So let me go to NetBeans. I think it's a .org. Right, and so when you're downloading NetBeans, there are many versions, and make sure you pick one that has Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat is a web server. So there's Apache HTTPD, I think that's the one you use with PHP, but Tomcat can serve pages. So usually I pick the one that has Java EE. You pick either Java EE or all, either one, right? So that you can run web applications. So now you know where to get it. Let's continue. So back here, let's add a new web application. So I'm going to call this my web service application. Right. Next, so that's the context path. The context path is just where it will be deploying from. These are different versions of Java EE. If you install, you should have your Tomcat already in there. So let's start this. These are different frameworks you can add to help you with whether controllers, display, formatting. I'm not going to pick any of them. I'm just going to keep it simple. So there are no dependencies. Just create a simple web application. Right. So if you've created a web application, this is your very first web application. And what I'll do is I'm going to choose my default browser as Chrome. The reason I'm choosing Chrome is the debugger is able to send and monitor requests in Chrome if you have a plugin installed, a Chrome Store plugin. So let's run this. So when I go to run, right, so it says connector is required, go to the Chrome Store. Okay, so let's see if we can. Then of course you can add it to Chrome. Add extension. You don't need to have the extension to view or enjoy your website, but what I do is I do prefer to have it because it does make it a little bit easier. You can see if there are any errors, they are at least coordinated. Okay, so have this. Let me try and run it again. Actually, you can also just click. Come on. Okay, that's my Chrome. Let's run it again. I know it says, okay, this is the HTTP server. Let's see. These are all the requests that are being sent to and from the web server. So this is one of them. Okay, let me just clear this. Delete all records. Now let's run. Okay, there you go. So the to do, that's the first page. It's a dummy page. That's it. Okay, so let's take a look at what I have in my web page. That's the indexed page. So it's actually very easy to deploy and use Java. Okay, so as you can see, you can actually mix Java code. So that's JSP. So we can have JSP pages and so on. But today we're going to focus on, for those who are interested in learning JSP, that means you go to new, you can add, where's JSP? You can add your Java server pages. That's another one. You can add frameworks with entity support. Okay, but let's focus on web service. So new web service. You can create a client, but let's just do a web service. So we want to make our own web service. So I'm going to call it my web service, right? And the package here is like the Java code, where it would put the code. And you can say create from scratch, or you could also create from beans. The beans, I think, are supported if you're using an enterprise class container. Maybe, let me see, who's enterprise class? Forgotten the names. I think JBoss. Yeah, JBoss is one of them. Okay, so let's just use our simple create web service from scratch, and you say finish. Doesn't seem to have the support, and it's saying, do you want to use Metro? Use it. Yes, just say yes. Without it, some components might not be available. So let's say yes. And so here is our web service. Now, the first one that's created for you is a Hello World web service. Now try and explain what it looks like. So this is your normal Java. So normal Java will just have, sorry, this and that. So in Java, usually you just have your method. Public string, hello, that's what it takes. Returns, right? So what Java does to help people make web services is to add annotations. So this is an example of an annotation. It says a web method. So online, when someone queries the web service for the name of the method, that's the service name, that's the method. These are the parameters, and note that what it says is a web param isn't what is being coded. So in the back end, it's saying it's using text, but in the front end, it's calling itself name. Right. So I will rebuild this. So let me build. Oh, it says to compile. Well, that's nice. We just have to save and it's done. Now, if you're doing this, please watch the menu. So anytime, let me just do this. You save something, because that's the new. It didn't even have to. Okay, there you go. You see, it says deploying. There's at the bottom here. This status bar tells you what's going on. So, in the past you had to keep compiling, but most IDEs now are able to automatically compile. So deploying, it's deployed. Once the deploy message is gone, it means we are good to go. So we can go back to our website. Okay, but this isn't our web service. So by now someone is wondering, where is my web service? Now in Java, if you have a web application like this one, I think it's, just have to find where it is here, webinf. So that's the specification for the web service, and web.xml tells you all the different places within the web application that it will listen to requests from. So here's one, my web service. So it says there's a servlet called my web service, likely implemented, just a sec, here, and it responds to this URL. So if I have that URL here in addition, so the URL will add on. So I hit enter. Wondering why, or did I not? Oh, maybe I don't need the slash at the end. Good. So I didn't need the slash at the end. So when you're looking at it, you have to pay attention to exactly the format. So URL pattern is this. So that's my new web service. And now you have a WSDL yourself. And click. Right. Now, different programming languages have different ways to present the front end or to the user, right? So the Java version isn't too crazy as far as the front end. NetBeans, the code it generates is kind of simple. So this is all depending on how your libraries or whatever tools you use generated. And as you can see, this is very different from the one that was presented in .NET. So this is a .NET version. But I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on your IDE and the libraries, you get a different view when you click on web service. So it says, that's the web service, that's the web service description language. And I showed you previously how to create a client to consume web services. But let's see if we can just add a client to this. Okay, so say new. Oh, we had one before. We called it a console. Let's just make a new one. Well, okay, you guys know how to consume clients anyway. So let me just keep this video short and let me just focus on my web services, how to create them. Let's make a new web service to do addition, right? So, I mean a web service method. So here we go. New method, I'm going to call it addition, right? And now I call them different names so people realize that the web method name doesn't have to be the same as the Java name. So what you're doing here is you are telling the compiler to say, when you generate the web service, that's the name you tell people about, and this name is internal. So do addition is internal to the method. Now let's have more than one parameter. So I'm going to do var1. So this is for addition, and var2. Get integers. I just keep it simple. And what parameter? We're going to call the first one x, second parameter y, and I want to return var1 plus var2 and return the result. Okay, so we've made a method. Now the nice thing about this is you can actually start to test your functions. You can write any other Java code, include a library, and call this, because this is just a normal method. The only difference is because it has these annotations, add web method, add web param, and in particular the class has been tagged as a web service. So note, if you want to create a web service, you need to import these, you need to add this. So this is more or less how you can do web services, and you can add as many as you need, right? So let's deploy it. Okay, it's already deployed. So what you'd see is previously had just hello in the WSDL, web service description language, and if I reload here, now I have in addition to this addition. So that's my addition, and it says it has two literals. So it's saying input is okay. So let's see. So we've got our two of them. Okay, that's good. Let's add client. Okay, let me just connect from a console so we can just enjoy. Close the loop. My web service Okay, so I've just made a regular Java application. You can include this in any other. Create a web service, WSDL, web service description language, or is there another project you can pick from? Yeah, one of these projects that's already running. But I'm just going to use the same format we do online. Doing an actual project, I would say if you're doing an actual project, I would, if it's been deployed somewhere, you can go and find out the URL and pull it in. So this is one way. Okay, generate the dispatch code, and I'll say my web service client. So where you put it, and it's going to generate the code. There you go, and that's it. So you see there's one of them here. So you see there's a method for addition, handling, the sending it, taking the response, hello, taking the response, and of course there's an object factory which is used to create. But we just need this one, the website. Well, we'll just get that one. So let's dive in. Okay, so I need to first of all import the package. So I'm consuming my own web service. Import my web service client. Okay, so that's been added. Next thing I'm going to do is I usually forget which one it's. Okay, just have to make sure I am not, because one of them would just be an interface. Okay, so it seems that's an interface, so you can't instantiate them. Just double check. That's an interface. Okay, so service dot
Okay, so we've got addition. Okay, and that's my hello. So let me call the addition one. So I'll say int result is equal to, well, everybody knows, int x equals 10, y equals 20, result equals, and now we pass x and y. Okay, so I think we've got it. So let's run this. Let's see what it's saying. Cannot find symbol. Let's compile this again. Clean and build. Then I choose this and I run it. There you go. So compiled, that means that the code that is in the server, so this is really an interesting thing. If I go to, this is the server code, this is where I define my web service. Right, let's pick the source. Design is like the front end, so you can see what it's taking. Now, if I, for example, said all of this times 2, so watch this, so cool, and then I save it. Of course, when you save, you can see this status thing saying deploying web service, going. We just wait for it to finish deploying, and then okay, good. So I'll go back to my other application, run it. Isn't that cool? 10, 20, 30. So it means that the two programs are communicating, but you're doing this with web services. So that's one way you can do it, right? So thank you for watching. This is very simple. I'm hoping that this will give students more ideas for how to get applications to interact with each other. Okay, thanks.